Hello and welcome to Putin Football First. I'm shocked. The man beside me knew the results were going to happen all along. Hello, Jonathan Pointer. I'm Tony Vidray, and what a night of football once again.
What a night. What a night. You know, it was another sleepless night with a big upset, a bit like the night I got married. But apart from that, it was great football and...
You're talking from Elizabeth's point of view, of course.
Absolutely. A great night of football. We've got a packed show. Today we're going to cover both of the matches that were last night. Welcome to the European Championships now. That is the tournament now.
Exactly.
And we'll then go over what is to come tonight to present us with a big week of semi-final and final football. All of that coming up in just a moment.
All right, let's talk about Uruguay versus France. Now, that was one match that did go to script, especially with Cavani not making it onto the park. Bit hard to try and beat France when you're up front gun, and also the player that linked so well with Suarez is not playing.
Yeah, look, it was just unlucky as far as Uruguay was concerned. I mean, the World Cup is a bit like that, but you watched how that game started. They were without Cavani, but Uruguay played impeccably. Their structure was great. They played high up the park for the first 20 or 30 minutes. They were winning the ball in the opposition's half, which I thought was pretty ballsy considering how lame they were going to be without that second player. He really was, pivotal to everything, but they gave it what they could.
They did, but then all of a sudden France clicked. And again, these, quarterfinals, it's as... this is where the blowtorch is put on these teams. Are you going to perform? And France just went, you know what, we're going to lift now. And they lifted and they started playing the ball around extraordinarily well. Exactly what you said in one of Didier Deschamps' coach's corner. Stretched the play out to the absolute limits of both wings and just ran Uruguay ragged.
It was what France was supposed to be from the beginning of the tournament. You get the feeling some of these bigger clubs, I don't know that they're playing ducks and drakes deliberately, but the group stage, we never see the best of them. You wonder why?
I think there's a big argument for getting rid of the group stages, and as we've said it before, I can't wait to see what
Let's go straight to the quarterfinals.
Can't wait to see what they're going to do with the 48 team format. But look, it's too predictable, it's too pedestrian. Let's just do enough to get out of the group, and then all of a sudden we promise to play well. That formula just doesn't work for me
But
anymore.
As for Uruguay, though, just to come back, they had a great structure. Their two midfield. This is what I loved about this game. Their two centre defenders play together week in, week out with Atletico Madrid, which is ironic considering the guy that was striking against them was Griezmann.
Yes,
which explains why he didn't celebrate when he scored. But it was unlucky more than anything else. France did look the goods, but I think with Cavani on the field, we might have had at least a draw.
A better game.
Yeah, but just back to Uruguay and how unlucky they were. Their central defenders, Godin and Jimenez, who play week in, week out for Atletico. They still played really well, except for that one magnificent set piece where Varane, I think, got through and scored the first goal for France. France deserved that one.
Great header. And a great tactics as well to drag the player away.
As a coach, I love set pieces. And I watched that and just thought it was out of my seat.
This is a World Cup for set pieces, for penalties, for own goals, for free kicks.
And
it's terrific.
Is the VAR causing that?
Possibly, yeah. I think it's a bit... I think, again, the coaches are getting smarter tactically, that they're now... There's a whole, parameters around, approaching a free kick that you're going to take, and it's a bit becoming like, and again, I know we've cross-pollinated other sports, NFL, national football. Like again, I like the American style of football.
Everything, have a crack, and then stop again.
That is. If you think about American football, the part that's intriguing is that as a defensive side, you've got this team coming at you, and you don't know how they're going to attack you. Are they going to throw the ball over the top? Are they going to go out the wings? Are they going to run it?
That's the beauty. Plays over and over again.
That's it. There's set plays over and over. And I think that is kind of getting replicated in our football, in that the defensive side, how they're going to come at us, and to try and defend against teams that have got so many options attacking from the free kick. It's great to watch.
It is. And what I like about it is with the VAR, and this is where I think it is influencing, when you put together a set piece with your team and you train with it, what you can't put into that training is what the opposition are going to do. You have to kind of imagine how someone would defend against this. But the thing you can't plan for is the tug of the shirt, the pull of the shorts, the arm, the hip into the side, the hand on the face. I could go on. But you can kind of rely on the fact this World Cup that VAR will probably pick it up, and you can move forward just using these set plays.
It's doing more. It's doing more good than bad. The VAR. It is. It's influencing the footballers' behaviours, and that's what we want. And I think that's one of the reasons why the quality on the park this World Cup is just astounding. Outstanding as well.
Less bad, more good, but
That's
not
it.
perfect.
And for a minute there, I thought Griezmann was going to go into the Uruguay tunnel at half-time, into their dressing room.
I think he wanted to.
If you missed it, Griezmann actually went and actually hugged and said hello to all of the Uruguay players. Some of them were quite shocked.
He feels very close to Uruguay.
He does. Yeah, I thought he was going to pull on a shirt because he actually came up behind a few of them as they were lining up, concentrating on the match. I've got to do this and make sure I don't stuff up. Then Griezmann's in your face. Oh, good.
That must be hard for all of them. Not impossible, but hard. And just moving on to France now, they are starting to look the goods.
They're looking great.
Griezmann has stepped up and is finally taking that role that we actually expected a few years ago. But now he's got the maturity. He's played into the role this World Cup, which is actually changing how Deschamps moves the team around.
Yeah.
But he's reliable in that space. He comes off Giroud now.
Yeah.
They're working
They've
really well
got so many
together.
players that'll hurt you, and that's the thing. You put all your resources into stopping Mbappe, Pogba will get in behind you. Put your resources into Griezmann will get in behind you. You leave them all alone, and then Giroud will just get up there and do the spider kick. And it's just a great team to watch.
So I do think luck went their way, but that happens in World Cups. You do need luck as well as skill. But also, let's talk about a couple of negatives. Mbappe. He's obviously been to the school of Neymar acting, and it was really disappointing to see.
Yeah, it was overdone. What was the score when he went down? Was it 2-0 or was it only 1-0?
I can't remember now, but I remember just shaking my head going, no, please, no.
It's just...
and that was really sad. The other one is Pogba. You can always count on Pogba to get a hot head and do something stupid.
Yeah.
I think he might be out for the semi.
Oh,
he got a yellow card, and I think that means he's out for the semi.
Second. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure. Yeah.
So not that I think this French team needs him. He's that X factor that sends things left when everybody, including the players, think it's going right. But I don't think they need it anymore.
No, at the end of the day, they've got so much depth that they'll replace him in a heartbeat. So yeah.
So we'll talk about the semi-final.
But well done, France.
Next.
Well done.
And France is through. We did actually bring. Oh, yep. In the set we have a Paris Saint-Germain backpack from our friends at Everything Football, just in case they won. Oh, and let's not forget the ball pump. Here you go. Pass that to Ronaldo, will you?
Here you go. Put this away.
And just on a final note, Tavares and Cavani, I feel really sorry for both of them. They probably won't be at the next World Cup.
Yep.
So this was their run. I think Uruguay had a real crack at this. They were the last South American team to...
Brazil was the last one.
We lost them both last night, didn't
That's
we?
it. Both South American side went out last night.
And two absolute champions, I think, will have just had their last World Cup. Suarez may be out for the next one, but those two deserved more.
I begrudgingly like Uruguay. I don't like their dark arts. I don't like some of the stuff they've done in the past. There's that history between the Socceroos and, they stopped us getting to the World Cup a couple of times in those playoffs. And, there's a few sort of dirty tricks. And then we stopped them. So there's a lot of rivalry, but they're a team that you begrudgingly like. They play this beautiful, fluent, attacking football.
They're hard. They're just hard.
They're
players.
you know what?
Hard. The reason I like Uruguay is that they have a population of 3.5
million people. Yep.
And they won the first World Cup. They've won a second. They're almost always there.
They won the second World Cup in what year?
1950.
1950. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Marcel. Just a bit shout out to Marcel for putting. Marcel's a friend.
I've had more River Roast now. I know what I'm talking about.
Marcel's a friend of mine from the States. Mad Argentinian supporter. And
there was no need to bring this up.
There wasn't there? I'm with Marcel. I'm with Marcel. Yeah, you leave the rain
1950, not 1956, as I might have said a little bit earlier in the season. Now. We're going to move to the second big game and, of course, the big upset from last night in just a moment. And the second game last night, Belgium-Brazil. This was probably the biggest game of the evening in terms of billing. Brazil has been touted since the beginning of the tournament as probable winners. They've got all the superstars. They were out firing early in the tournament. Belgium, my dark horse, thank you very much. And, of course, that maestro of a coach, Martinez.
Mind you, his dark horse was also Switzerland, Croatia.
No, I never know. Croatia's my favourite now, but dark horse was always Belgium. You watched the Belgium team, the Red Devils, will do well. They, of course, knocked out Brazil in sensational circumstances last night. Tony, what did you get out of this game?
Look, but on paper, Belgium were always capable of doing it. It was the execution that was all. And this is the thing with playing against Brazil. How's your execution? This team will kill you on the counter attack. They'll just, their defence. Thiago Silva again had a terrific game. But the pure genius of Martinez, the way that he structured his team. One way in attack, another way in defence.
We called it in Coach's Corner. Let me just point that out to Marcel.
Yeah. But the way that he did that and the way that his players, and he even said at the end of the match, the way they executed and the way that... And I thought, look, Brazil were patient. I thought throughout the game they were very patient. You could say they were pedestrian. I don't think they were. They were very patient, thinking, okay, we're down 1-0. We'll be okay. Damn it, we're down 2-0. That's okay. We get one, we're going to get a second. That's usually the way it works. They started to panic a little bit, and you could see that they were panicking because when they were fouled, they got straight back up again.
Which is really unusual for Brazil.
Which is usually the hint around, they're not really that hurt when they fall down. But look, Brazil, they fought their way back. I thought their goal was terrific because Belgium had covered them in every respect, and it was just one of those perfect crosses, and I still don't know how he's done it. Crossed onto the head that finally beat Courtois. I want to talk a little bit more about him in a moment. But again, it's they just executed. They stuck to a game plan and they just frustrated them. And again, playing on the counter attack, I honestly thought Belgium were going to get a third. They had a few chances where I think they played it wrong. They played it left instead of right at some stage. At a couple of stages, they could have got a third.
They could have, and look, I hate to harp on Martinez, but he changed their formation and the way they played from the quarterfinal from the round of 16 to this game.
Which is not easy.
He says 2 days. Yeah, he says 2 days. They've been playing in this game against Brazil. And one of the things they had done was study when Brazil moves forward, one of their backline always comes up in attack.
Yeah.
And all those counters, every single counter that came out of Belgium in the game was designed to run into the hole where that player was. I can't remember his name, which one it was, but...
it was Paulinho, wasn't it?
I think it was,
It was, no, I thought it was Paulinho.
Yeah. And so every counter knew where the hole was going to be. The players knew where they were going to go. Lukaku, I've never seen him run so fast in my life.
He had a great game.
And De Bruyne, he was in control of the midfield, which to be
against
in control
Brazil.
of the midfield against Brazil is sensational.
And
here's one, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Fellaini.
Yeah,
Fellaini played a magnificent match in defence.
He could be a bit sort of hot and cold and a bit sort of
useless
very
is what I usually call him. But
I'm trying to be diplomatic.
I apologise, Fellaini. That was a sensational defensive game.
He could be a passenger in some games, and we've seen it at club level. But gee, they just lift at the right times. These guys, and look, credit to Belgium.
Not intimidated either. Walked out there like we're going to boss you.
Credit, but as you say, they knew this about a week ago. They went out against England going, you know what, we're not going to finish second. And credit to them to go, we're going to go to that left-hand side of the draw and we'll meet Brazil and we'll beat them. And they did it. It's just good on them. Good on them.
Yeah, there's a certain level of confidence about this team.
Losing 2-0 deep in the second half against Japan may have thrown a bit of a spanner in the works.
Always under control.
Never in doubt.
Always had it. Never in doubt.
Yeah, but good on them for they put the odds in their favour. And again, you've got this big team in Brazil. Germany did the same thing where they go, we'll play our game. Mm-hmm. We won't worry about your game.
Yep.
And again,
I think your patience was a little bit of hubris.
Yeah, true. Tito, is that his name?
Tito.
Yeah. Again, when you're watching this unfold, you earn your money from changing things, and he didn't change things.
I disagree. Okay. He did change them in the second half, and for that last 20 or 30 minutes, Brazil really did pick up. They looked like they were going to equalise on a number of occasions. They were really unlucky not to.
Yep.
Neymar didn't have his best game. He should have put a couple away.
Yeah.
And a couple of their players missed sitters as well. So they had their chances.
They sprayed.
But the changes that the coach made in the second half turned them on.
Okay, all right.
And that's what made it such a good game. You were sitting there going, please let it not go to penalties.
2-2 on penalties.
About the coaches. Yeah. A couple of interesting stats. Martinez was regarded by some experts as the weak link in this team because he had a bit of a lacklustre time in the EPL. When he managed Everton, he was sacked when they were coming 12th.
Yes.
He then managed Wigan down into the Championship. So he was regarded as a weak coach.
Yeah.
But you know what? He hasn't lost a competitive match as a coach since Sunderland in 2015.
Wow.
right? So as coach
Wow.
of Belgium.
So they went through their
He's been
qualifiers
magnificent.
undefeated, did they? Yeah, right.
That's right.
That's
So
extraordinary.
he's not the weak link that people say he is.
No.
I said it in Coach's Corner. I think they've got this one.
I think Courtois is clearly the weakest link in the Belgium team on paper. I kid, of course. Now, the reason I wanted to mention him is
he had a blinder.
He had an absolute blinder, and this is what I predict now will happen. You know that I like the Mexican keeper Ochoa, and I thought he should win. The goalkeeper of the tournament.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, well, watch this. Courtois, now that he's had a good match, and now that they're in the semis and they'll play the full 7 matches, I reckon the money will shift across to Courtois. He'll win the keeper of the
look, he kept them in the game.
Oh.
Without him, they weren't in this tournament, and he kept them in the game last night. If he plays like that through the semi,
he needs to.
Dare I say, at the final.
Yeah, he needs to.
He will.
Yeah,
and they deserve it.
Yeah, that's
they
it.
do. There you have it, a big upset, and no more South American.
No more South American.
In fact,
side.
it's now an entirely European tournament, which is a shame on one level, but exciting on the next. We'll be back in a moment to talk about tonight's huge matches and how happy we'll be when England goes home.
The remaining matches in the European Championships, right here on Putin Football First.
All right, and welcome back. Now, before we move to Coach's Corner, there's one left for this particular show, but I just want to touch on, you're wearing AC Milan, Tony. What's that about?
I support Arsenal in England. I support AC Milan in Italy. Still waiting for Silvio Berlusconi to invite me to one of his bunga bunga parties. I don't know I don't know why he's lost.
I believe he's looking for a new accountant, so you want an invitation.
Yeah, well, I'll be able to hide his minions. So yes, good old AC Milan.
Last time seen on television is.
The good old glory days of Van Basten and Ruud Gullit.
Yeah. And what was that? Michael Barak, but the German?
Michael Ballack.
Ballack, that's him. Yeah,
played for Chelsea.
Barack Obama played for.
He played for Chelsea. Did he play for Milan?
I think he did.
Okay.
For a short period.
But ever since.
So what's this got to do with the World Cup?
Well, this is where all the good players from the World Cup are going to end up.
We're going to stretch that bow that far, are we?
Yeah,
okay.
we are.
Fair enough.
Either them or Arsenal.
Yeah, well, of course, I've worn in honour of tonight's
What are
games.
you wearing?
I'm half England.
You look like a polo jockey.
I'm half England, half Croatia. I can be England, red, white, and blue, but if I put one arm there and one arm there, I'm Croatia, who I really, really want to win.
Yes, I
Maybe
can see that.
I just realised what I'm doing. I don't think I'll do that
Don't
anymore.
do that anymore.
All right, we're going to jump to Coach's Corner now, and the last coach that I haven't covered left in the tournament is the Croatian coach.
They're still in the tournament.
And look, Croatia has an amazing but short history in football. Do you know the first time Croatia actually entered the World Cup?
I shouldn't say that.
You do?
I will know.
Oh, good. What happened?
First time. Davor Šuker, top scorer.
Do you know where they came?
Third.
Yeah, that's right.
France
Third in your
19
first World Cup.
France,
How good is
1998. Davor Šuker, top
yes,
scorer.
he came up against Golden Boot. Yeah.
They came up against France in that semi-final of France '98, where, and this is a World Cup, and again, segueing back to France, this is a World Cup that they won without a recognised striker. This was just before Thierry Henry, really went on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And in that semi-final, they were beaten 2-1. They scored. Davor Šuker scored first. The 2 French goals came from a French defender whose name was Lilian Thuram. So he pushed Lilian. That was his first name, Lilian. I can't get my mouth around it.
Nothing
so what a
wrong
great
with
name!
that, Lilian.
What a great name for a hardened footballer, Lilian. So he scored 2 goals, put France into the final, and Croatia.
But of course, we are talking about Croatia. So
Yes.
here's Croatia's Coach's Corner. Go Zlatan. Croatia is technically the youngest country to appear at this World Cup. As a team, they first appeared in FIFA competitions in 1990. That said, they have an amazing record, missing qualification in only one World Cup since then and finishing 3rd in their first. That year, their ranking went from 125th in the world to 3rd. The history of Croatia, or the Blazers, is short but very, very sweet. Croatia came 3rd in their first World Cup, the year they had the devastating Davor Šuker shooting goals for fun. That year, the team was known as the Golden Generation, a term used again only recently about this year's team. Zlatko Dalic is an ex-professional player and successful club coach in both Croatia and Saudi Arabia. Since taking over the current team late in 2007, he has made some serious changes to the team, and they're paying dividends across the park. The current Croatian team had lost its mojo during qualification, and when the Croatian Football Federation sacked the coach with one chance left to make it, Zlatko got the call. The team was experiencing what might be called an embarrassment of midfielders. The legendary Luka Modric headed up a team with too many in the middle and not enough going forward. When Dalic moved Modric into the number 10 position, the presence of an attacking player who could hold the ball and had a sublime knack for passing meant that new combinations with Mandzukic up front and Rakitic in the middle were unleashed. It was a genius move. Croatia has grown in strength, finesse and confidence every game since. Their two weaknesses are the left-back position, no player has claimed this as his own yet, and the fact that it's well known this team has a habit of building more attacks down the right-hand side than anywhere else. With this knowledge, a good opposite coach could conceivably create a lineup that deliberately kept the ball to the right in attack. The red and white checkerboard on their shirts, however, lifts this team to another level of hard work though, and their proud history will be a significant driving force for Zlatko and his men. Of course, Croatia and Australia have a history when it comes to World Cup football. Australia sensationally knocked Croatia out in the round of 16 in 2006, when the referee infamously awarded a Croatian player 3 yellow cards. The referee's excuse after the game was that he got confused by the Australian accent of the Croatian when he spoke. Australia are no longer in this tournament, and this crop of Croatian players are now seen as the second golden generation. If Croatia can find a way to end the miraculous run of this year's Russian team, a date with destiny awaits them. Croatia can beat anyone on a good day. Do you think you can stay on the right path just for once?
No.
I mean, how far from what we're talking about do you want to go this time?
just do the fishing symbol.
Let's
reel Tony back in.
Antarctica into the next one, shall we?
Oh, great football team.
Yeah, no.
Their shirts are all white. Why don't we do a little?
There's two black spots on the crest. Polar bear.
Okay, welcome back to Putin Football First, and a segment that has just a bit like France. It has just gained momentum throughout the entire World Cup. People are talking about it in the streets. My mother's ringing me. People are stopping her in Hamilton.
Laughing if they're doing anything at all.
They're not. Let's go to the graveyard segment.
Bring it up.
Let's go. Oh Jesus! Oh,
can stop. Oh jeez. Always.
Crash the bank. Get out of the road. Oh, look out! Here we go. The graveyard segment. These are the teams that are still in. You've got to fix that part of the board up there.
I'm not even in the screen, Tony.
That's a good thing.
Welcome to the professional football fest.
We have 6 teams left on your far left. So one semi-final. France is a bit droopy, but the baguette is drooped. France will meet Belgium in one semi-final. The other semi-finals will be... The other semi-final will be... Stop blowing my ball. Will be decided tonight. England against Sweden, and Croatia coming up against Russia. All of these other teams, they're in the graveyard.
Oh, there's De Bruyne scoring again. Awesome. Oh, check that out.
They're in the graveyard, a bit like my career and Jonathan's career as well. See you next time.
Of course, Tony, here is the professional graphic, the one that we've always had.
Never liked it.
Illustrates exactly how the tournament's
very
going.
poorly put together.
It's over a corkboard and some floppy flags.
Yeah, that's it. 14-year-old put this together.
Ladies and gentlemen, this shows you exactly what's happening and where we're at in the tournament.
Belgium, France, one semi-final. The other one will be sorted out later tonight, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Can we talk again?
We've
Let's
done
go.
this.
We've got Antarctica. Where's Antarctica in the group?
Oh, God.
All right, welcome back. Let's have a serious look now at the other quarterfinals that will be decided tonight. Sweden against England, and also Croatia, Russia.
I got 3 words. England's going home.
Do you really?
Yes.
Look.
They haven't been tested.
No.
And Sweden is hardened and coming through like a Volvo after 15 years with services. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. And again, this is going to be that moment in the quarterfinals. Does England actually lift their games? And you're right, they haven't been tested. Tunisia, Panama, and they're not
an understrength column.
And then change the formation against Belgium that you end up losing. You beat Colombia on penalties again. Weakened formations with no James.
My prediction: penalties. England's going home.
Yeah,
sorry, Adrian.
I think that's going to be pretty close.
And Phil, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty close. I think Sweden will have the medal for this one.
All right. So the more important match tonight.
They're all important.
Look, this one's intriguing. Croatia, Russia. On paper, Croatia will smash them, but with the meds, Russia is on at the moment, and I mean that metaphorically, of course. Hello to my friends at FIFA and Vladimir. They're on fire. The country is going nuts,
Yep.
and you can't underestimate the energy behind that.
We said it. We said it a couple of.
Could well be the end of the road.
Yeah, look, we said a couple of episodes ago when Spain met them. Again on paper it looked like Spain would kill them, but at the end of the day, you're coming up against the host nation, and there's nervous moments. So Croatia will have their work cut out. But I just think the professionalism of that group of player, Modric, Mandzukic. These guys are just hardened footballers. They play week in, week out in cauldrons full of fans that hate them. The opposition fans. I think they are going to be more primed for this game than Russia will be, and I think Croatia.
I think the key is going to be this coach has Modric playing as a false number 9.
Yes,
and it's working.
Yeah,
it's working really well.
Yeah.
So you actually have Rakitic, Mandzukic, Rakitic, and Modra all coming down at you. The Russian defence has been nice and tight so far, but I don't think they're a match for that.
Yeah, that's it. No, I think they'll do it, and again they'll do it in bursts. I think Croatia will go up 1-0 and then weather the storm, and then counter and go 2-0 and weather the storm. But I think
my heart is with Croatia though. Come on, boys, let's do it for the red and white.
I think
really
so
want to see Croatia get through to the final.
Yeah, so do I. Again, I don't want to get political, but I will. At the end of the day, this whole awarding of the Football World Cup to Russia and the next one in 4 years' time, follow the trail of oil. It should never have been
talk
awarded.
about that later. We'll talk about that in another episode. But Croatia, come on, boys, we want to see it. Vatska.
That is it for another episode.
That's another episode of Putting Football Almost First, and we're drawing to the close of the season. There are only
It's not a season, it's a tournament.
Tournament season, whatever it is.
Get some sleep.
I just want it to be over.
It's not clubs. They're not clubs, they're countries.
Thank the sponsors.
I'll thank the sponsors. I'll do a professional job. Thank you to River Roast once again. James, thank you for keeping us awake. John needs to be kept awake.
Coffee.
I'll cover this little ball spot of his. Also, everything football as well. Thank you so much for the shirts. I'm actually going to call past today, so I'll hope to meet you guys and also the lovely people at Murray's Brewery. We are moments away from figuring out who the semi-finalists will be. And
don't forget, talk to us on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Night.
See ya. We are moments away from discovering who's going to win this tournament. Cannot wait. Can I just ask you something?
Yeah, what?
Why did I have to record the entire episode wearing this for?
Jesus, Tony.
What was the idea behind this?
Because every night we have to wear something. That's a little big for you, isn't it?
Actually, it's quite fitting.
Cristiano would be really pleased. All right, a quick shout out to the Jets boys. They toppled Shanghai Shenhua last night over in, I think it's Hong Kong. Awesome. Well done, fellas. We're right behind you. And Simmons, debut, scored.
Yeah.
I think that's augurs well for the season ahead. Good on you guys. We'll see you when you get back.
We've replaced Riley already.